Welcome back all, and this is the Suzuki SV650X stock seat, the tuck and roll seat that I said in my review of the bike that I have owned for I don't know, 18 months or so, and I love to bits. This bike here, it's kind of like sitting on wood, and it gives me a bad back, and it hurt my coccyx bone a lot, and yes, I have a sensitive bottom, but that's not the point. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Look, it looks cool, but the tuck and roll aspect means you slide forward a little too much. And if you're riding for any longer than maybe 45 minutes, it's kind of a bit shit. And that's the best way to describe it. However, this is the new seat I have, which is from a company called Bagster. And I got it from the Motorrad website, and it got shipped from Italy. And you can see there, it's got the embossment of the SV logo, and my god, it looks cool. I mean, I think the brown does look better. When I got my handlebars changed on this bike, I got brown ones rather, not grey. I got brown ones put on because I thought it could look really cool to match the seat. However, with this seat, it's a lot more cushy. There's a lot of gel inside of this. It's quite firm still, but the material itself doesn't let you slide into it because it's actually a bit thicker. It sits probably a few mil higher, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got this kind of backing into it, it's really, really comfortable and sturdy. And I've only been on it once, and you'll see this in about 30 seconds when I switch to the riding side of the video. But as it goes, you know, from a back point of view on this, ignore the messy garage, but on the back point of this bike, the actual streamlinedness of it, you can see the Bagster logo here. It looks really, really nice. And at first I was going, nah, I prefer the brown. I do prefer the brown. However, do you know what? After having it on for a few days, I think I prefer the new one. I really do. This is not an incredibly expensive seat. It's expensive enough. It really is. However, I think the bike deserves having a better seat than this hunk of shit. Because, in my review, the only negative I have really about this bike is that this is just so uncomfortable. That is all the give in the seat. Yes, it's not like a sports bike seat where it's basically a sanitary towel. But considering this is a naked bike, and you're going to be on it a lot, it just wasn't good enough for me. But I think the next step up from the Bagster seat is the Corbin seat, and that's about 600 to 650 sterling. This was about 300, 280 sterling, not including the import fees we now have to pay here, which is about 70 quid. So all in all, about 360, 370, I think I paid something like that for this seat, which I don't think was too bad considering I use this bike a lot. I put 4,000 miles on this bike so far this year, amongst the other ones as well. So, yeah, I think overall, well worth buying. But let's jump into the video and see how I found it on the road. Right, now we're out and about. I can tell you the seat's fine. End of the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Nah, I'm only joking. Of course. So, we've just started our journey, a few minutes into it. And so far, the seat is, I would say, it's just as firm, if I'm being honest, but there's a load more cushioning underneath it. It might take a little while to soften up. I'm not particularly sure. However, immediately, I feel like there's a little bit more give in the seat. I also feel maybe like even as much as an inch higher as well off the bike. Being the last one was a tuck and roll seat, and I imagine this one's more like the standard SV650 seat, which I think is significantly better than the X seat. And one of the things that surprises me with Suzuki is everyone that knows the SVs know that these bikes are extremely well made. They're very, very basic. There's not a load that can go wrong. They're pretty much well loved. They're one of the best beginner-friendly bikes. They're one of the most important bikes from Suzuki's brand, in my opinion, which is why it's a bit shocking that they discontinued them this year. However, why they kind of made the seat and just went, that will do, every single person I know that has ridden an SV or has an SV says the seat's a pile of shit. And I thought, it can't be that bad. It is that bad. It is that bad if you're riding for longer than 45 minutes, which, if you're using the bike to commute, most commutes are sub 1 hour, I would say. I think that's fair. If you're using it to commute, you probably never find the issue with it, if I'm being honest. If you're taking your bike out and you want to do longer rides with it, and there's no reason you can't take this thing further, other than getting blasted by wind because it's a naked bike, you can add a screen to this. I've seen loads of people tour around England on SVs. It looks pretty cool. Now, I haven't done any tours on it. However, I have ridden maybe like 200 miles in one go, a break, and then another 150 miles. Probably that's the longest day I've done. I thought I'd do my regular route here, just so I can test this out fully. And I'm not wearing the Ripple shorts that I normally would wear when I'm doing longer commutes, especially on my Speed Twin now as well. My Speed Twin seat is beautifully soft. However, I rode it to London the other day, about an hour and 45 minutes from where I am, and my bum did go a bit numb towards the end, but again, really nice. It's just shocking that a bike that sells so well, and it's reasonably priced. I think these were about 7.5 grand, maximum 8,000 when they were brand new. I got this again for like 4 grand, and it only had 1,000 miles on it when I got it. So it's quite shocking that they just didn't really take time into making a nice seat for people. But I think that's a good little test of how well my bum has held up. I think this seat is very comfortable. I'll give you an update again after maybe a week of riding around on it, maybe a longer trip, say over 100 miles at least, and then we'll take it from there. This bike's being fully serviced at the end of the month. Doesn't really need it, I just want it for my own sanity and OCD, and we'll see how it goes. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.